Hey everyone, welcome to Friday night. It's 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, and I'm your host Phil. What am I doing tonight? I am drawing at my drawing board. That's right. This is a regular live draw. I'm back this week. Last week was an unexpected. Oh, look at that! I got the Stay Tuned Live logo in the background. That's not supposed to be there. I had I had a unexpected Stay Tuned episode pop in last week. It was really great. Thank you for those of you who were there and asked some good questions. I'd like to say welcome to everybody who has recently subscribed to me on YouTube. I have had a number of new subscribers pop in recently. It's great to have you here. You could always go back and watch everything you've missed so far, but it's okay if you don't, because you're here now. So thanks for that. Thanks always for all your engagement. I just want to start with saying that because my day started talking with people about engagement, and it was really interesting talking about the ways that people interact with people that do live streaming and all this stuff. It's really an interesting thing to think about. And I know that we have a lot of things that are vying for our attentions these days. So thanks for hanging out with me on a Friday night. Let me just say that right now. I get it. We've got a ton of stuff that's like shouting in our ears saying, pay attention to me. You could be playing a video game, watching a movie. Oh no, I'm giving you ideas. Don't go anywhere. I appreciate you staying here. So anyway, Friday night live draws. This is when I put an hour of work into my upcoming animated short film. I don't know how long it's going to take me, but it's going to take me a long time because I'm doing it frame by frame. On paper, I'm doing it old school, traditional style. There are some videos on my channel showing the behind the scenes process of this, and you can even watch some early test animation I did all on YouTube. So definitely check that out. But on Friday nights, this is when I do a little bit of put a little work and talk to you guys, and you guys can ask me questions. And those of you that are also creatively inclined, I know there's some of you out there who like to crochet or draw or paint or sculpt, whatever. You're welcome to do all those things with me, and we can kind of talk about how we deal with creative struggles. I often talk about creative struggles being mental gymnastics. You might hear me say that term a lot, and that's because I think it's probably the hardest part of doing anything creative. It's not even the creative part, it's the part that's all up here. And I talk about that a lot because I think about it a lot because it's really important. So let me just lower that just a little bit. And yeah, so I'm going to get started. What am I working on tonight? I am working on, well, I think 2 weeks ago I was talking about scene 19. And I'm actually at the end of scene 19. I'm actually just about done with it. I pretty much finished it this week. And but what did I save for tonight? Because I did save a little bit of something to work on tonight. Thank you for anybody that's giving me a thumbs up on YouTube right now. I appreciate that. I see those little reactions coming in, and if you're on Facebook, thank you for the hearts and thumbs up. I think you can do both there. That's fine. But what am I working on tonight? Well, I've got this sequence I'm working on where one of my characters is he's just finished yelling something to my main character, and after he finishes yelling, I'm doing this interesting camera trick where the camera zooms out away from the character and goes up a ladder. Okay. Spoiler alert, there's no camera. This is just animation. So it's just an illusion, right? But the character that I'm referring to is this customer here. He was just yelling something, and he finished yelling. His mouth is closed, And so we're going to be like zooming out like that, kind of like that effect, right? So he gets smaller and smaller and smaller as he goes back. Well, I've already animated this sequence, if I'm going to be completely honest with you, but when I push play and I run back the frames, it goes entirely too quickly. I don't want it to be over with that quickly. So what I'm doing is, it's like 8 or 9 drawings that I've got right now. I'm okay with the last 4 or 5 going quickly, but the first 4, I don't want that to go quickly. So what I'm doing is I'm going back in between those first 4 drawings, and I'm drawing additional drawings in between those 4 drawings. So the desired effect will be that the camera starts to slowly back up and then increase and go the rest of the way. Not something I've done before. In fact, most of the things that I'm doing in this cartoon are things I've never done before, or a variation on them so that I can kind of challenge myself, but also to give myself something interesting to draw that I think will look good as a result and tell the story in the best, most interesting way possible. So that's why I'm doing all these different things. Anyway, Samantha is here. Happy Friday! Hey, thank you, Samantha. Happy Friday to you. And Samantha has just illustrated a key benefit to being here during the live stream, which is that you get to have your comment featured on screen. And I think that's cool. Anyway, yeah, welcome. All right, well, I'm going to get started. I actually did get started already, but I'm going to get started again. I got started, I think I was working on this yesterday. Haven't worked on it today, so this is a good time for me to do that. And be turning on my light box, and I will be rotating my monitor around and changing my camera. And it's going to be a little bit like staring into the sun for you guys. But you can kind of see what I'm working on. That's a very interesting effect on screen there. That is very weird looking. Oops, didn't mean to put that comment back on screen. Okay, there we go. You are listening to MIDI music, M-I-D-I. This is music that back in the day, back in the 90s, this was how music was produced for video games, PC games, I mean. And this music is specifically from Doom. More specifically than that, it's from Doom 2. And why am I playing Doom 2 music? I don't know. I listen to it sometimes. I still like it. It's probably a nostalgia thing, but I still enjoy it. So, it's also, I feel like it's pretty decent background stuff. You might be like, "What? This is crazy, man. Why are you listening to this?" I don't know. Or maybe you recognized it. Maybe you played Doom back in the day. I'm hoping there's some nostalgia. That was a great game. Yes, it certainly was, Samantha. Did you play Doom? Was that a game you got into? Man, it broke a lot of ground. Doesn't get much better than shooting down hordes of demons and saving the planet. Can't get much better than that. Oh, absolutely. You did play it. Oh, great. Oh, that's great. Yeah, good deal. Good deal. I recently found a better way to download those games and have the controls actually feel like they used to. And so I like earlier today downloaded a handful. Um, and yeah, and so I'm probably going to start playing some old games again. My only like the only downside really, and this is something that I like to think that once I get a bigger place to live at some point, what I'm hoping I can do is I can kind of divide my spaces a little bit differently. And so instead of having like a computer where I do everything, maybe I can have a computer where I'm doing all my creative stuff, and then maybe a different computer where I can do gaming, and maybe that computer can be on like a standing desk. That's what I'm kind of hoping for, something like that. I'd like to, because right now my incentive to sit at my desk and play a computer game is not great. I don't really want to do that. I'm sitting at my desk so much recently for this cartoon. And before this cartoon, I was at my desk working on Stay Tuned. So, you know, it's kind of hard. Like when you're a creative person and you're making stuff a lot, it gets difficult to figure out what your recreation looks like. And it's kind of too hot right now to really be recreational outside. Not that I would be very recreational outside, but I don't think this is a very conducive time to even try. Hey, if you haven't seen Inside Out 2 yet, I recommend it very highly. Just saw it the other night with a great friend of mine, and we just enjoyed the heck out of it. It's really, really good. Probably one of my favorite Pixar movies now, honestly. What games did I download? I downloaded Heretic and Hexen, which are I love Doom. I really, really love Doom and Doom 2. Doom 2 even more. But Heretic and Hexen spoke to me in a very real way. And they're basically clones of Doom, but they had a medieval twist, and they had some like different things that you could do that you couldn't do in Doom, like look up and look down. I know that sounds like ooh, but back then that was actually a pretty big deal. And you could fly. That was kind of a big deal too. So I love those games like a lot. I really, really do. And then I downloaded another one that was really, really good called Strife, and it was kind of like if Doom had interactive story elements, like characters you could talk to and things like that. It was it took it a step further. So that was pretty good too. But I finally downloaded. Well, I've had these games for a while. I've had them on Steam, but I haven't played them very much because the controls are so bad. It's like hard to want to play them. Heretic is good. I'm gonna play that a little. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, it is very good. I didn't know you played that. I don't know a lot of people that know those games. So when I talk about them, if anybody recognizes them, I'm always like really surprised. But yeah, Heretic's great. Hexen's great too. You know, and those games are always kind of, each one was sort of trying to add a little bit something new to the experience. That was back when you could, oh man, I'm going to sound like an old fart now. But that was back when if you were going to share a video game with a friend, you gave them a stack of floppy disks. And that's how those games got shared with me. It was like, here's a stack of disks. Go ahead, take it home with you. And you know, we had to be careful because people would put viruses on disks and be jerks like that. So even back in the day, there were jerks and people doing stupid stuff like that. Back in the day. You know. Oh no. Oh no, I'm sounding funny and old, I guess. You have to understand, like, these songs are only like 2 or 3 minutes long. But if you were stuck on a level, good old floppy disks, yeah. If you were stuck on a level for a while, you might hear a song like this for a good 15 minutes. So these songs are well ingrained in my subconscious. I listen to them a lot. And now I listen to them just for fun without even playing the game. I actually do like the music. I mean, I know some people play games without any music. And the only times I ever did that were if there was like a puzzle and I was really like trying to focus on figuring out the puzzle. That's the one thing that would get me to put the music on mute. Otherwise, I always let it play. Even if it got annoying, I would just like I still wanted the experience of what it all was like together. Um, Something that was really cool with Hexen back in the day, they allowed you to do this thing where you could put a CD in your CD-ROM on your computer, and you could tell the game that you wanted the audio that played to be whatever CD was in your CD drive. So there were times where I would be like rocking out to Oingo Boingo while like killing some monsters. And that's what I did for fun, everybody. You know, and I have no regrets. All right, I think I got this one done. But because these in-betweens are not super complicated for me to figure out, because I'm not doing any new action, I'm just simply making the characters zoom out. It makes it easier for me to work my way through these a little quicker because there's not as much thinking that has to go on. So here we go. Here's an in between. Doesn't look a lot different, and that's good. It shouldn't look a lot different because it's the same character just zoomed out. It's not going to be perfect, but that isn't the point. I don't want it to be perfect. I want it to look like we're zooming out, and a little bit of imperfection will actually. I think it'll give it a sense of realism. It'll make it look like there's something, happening, but not too much something happening because then it looks like the character is morphing. You don't want to do that. So you got to find the happy medium. I think I just did that. Now, this was the original one. This is the one we're starting out with. So the one I just finished, I'm going to overlay over top of this one, and then I'm going to find the in between these two. Because these early drawings, I want them to have a much slower transition. So that means I have to have like a decent number of drawings in between. And you may be wondering, doesn't this get confusing? And the answer to that is yes. That's why I try to label things as I go. I'm not labeling the one I just did, but I will do that later. My favorite games were the hard disks because they came in fun colors. Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, those are still considered floppy disks. Even there was the 3.5 floppies and then the 5 1/4 floppies. Excuse me. I'm sorry, I'm just drinking a lot of carbonated soda, or water, carbonated water, and so occasionally, it catches up with me. the 5 1/4 inch floppies were actually floppy, like they kind of wobbled. And then, like Samantha was saying, the 3 or is it 3.5? 3.5 inch floppies were like, yeah, they were rigid. The in between the in between. Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. That's what this is. This is the in between the in between. You nailed it. Oh, I forgot to do. See, sometimes I will miss a line or two, and I just saw it right now, so I got to go back and fix that. But sometimes I miss those things. What's funny is when I was a kid, I would watch cartoons, and I would occasionally notice like some sort of an error. On some animated show, I would notice like an error, and I would go, "How do they miss stuff? I don't understand how they're missing stuff." Well, now that I'm doing it myself, I know exactly how they miss stuff. It's because there's a ton of stuff, and occasionally you miss something. It's just what happens. I did a count recently on how many drawings I've made so far for this animation, and the answer is 785 is where I'm at currently. That's not including anything I'm doing right now. But before tonight's live draw, the number was 785. So quite the little stack of drawings I've got now. You might be wondering how much of a difference a few more frames will make, but believe it or not, it really will make a pretty significant difference. I don't know how many in-betweens I'm going to add into this scene. The scene's basically done, but I know this will make it, it'll make the zoom out effect more impressive, I think. miss something again? Did. All right, another one down. Good, looks just like the other ones. But it is different, I promise. And now the question becomes, what's the next one? This one's closer. I need to hold them up to each other to know which one's which now. Okay, so I need one in between these two. Oh boy, this is getting confusing. This is the part that I'm like, let's just make sure I'm not repeating myself. Should be fine. Okay, this should be okay. How are things coming along tonight? Asked Samantha. Good. I've got 2 in-betweens down. I'm going to do another one right now. And then I will see how these work and if I need a lot more of them. I don't really know yet how many I need. I just going until it looks like I don't have enough room to do more of them. This particular part of the cartoon is like not incredibly taxing on me mentally, because I'm not having to figure out a bunch of stuff. I'm just sort of like drawing the same character over and over again in the same pose, just smaller. So this is like a little bit of a break, I guess. And when I say a break, I mean compared to the rest of this month so far, this scene has been very, very challenging for me, and it's kind of nice to be at this point and just kind of have a more relaxing night of drawing where I'm not actually like wondering if it's going to work. Um, so this is kind of a nice bit of change of pace from the last 2 weeks. Last 2 weeks have been very, very challenging. A brain break. Yeah, this is a brain break. Um, I think visually this is going to add something kind of nice, and it's going to be even nicer because I already have the scene done. So this is just going to make it like enhanced. And then very soon, probably at the beginning of July, I'll be starting on scene 20. So that's kind of cool. You're still getting work done, but your brain doesn't have to work so hard. Yeah. I don't very frequently get to have that. A lot of this process has been like a lot of figuring things out and not being sure of whether or not it's going to come out on the other end looking okay. And I've got a pretty good idea that this is going to work just fine because the 9 or 10 frames that I've already got, it works. It reads as a camera zooming out. So I'm not really worried if this is going to work. I'm just adding more images because that'll make the zoom out take longer and I think look a little bit more impressive. So the entire reason I'm doing these frames tonight is just to kind of make the moment last a little bit longer. It's so easy to get pulled into a headspace where I just want to get it done and move on to the next part. But the problem with that is then you're not really savoring it. And I don't just mean savoring the work, but I mean the final experience that you're creating. Is if it goes by too quickly and you don't kind of confidently let it rest on screen, then you're missing out, or I think you're missing out. You're definitely making it miss out for the audience, and that includes yourself. I mean, you've got to make something that I believe that you want to watch yourself. So when I look at it, I think, oh, this would be a lot nicer if it like took a little bit longer to do. Visually, I don't mean the workload. So that's where my headspace is at on that. Thanks for asking. You're seeing a very, very relaxed version of me tonight. The last 2 weeks have been not that, and it's very nice to be on this end of it. And also the satisfaction of knowing that, like, yes, it was difficult, but I got it to work, and I came out on the other end, and I'm still here, and I still got fighting spirit in me and all that good stuff. Because I kind of feel like that's a bit of a, everyone always asks like, oh, like, does something, when a film has a speed bump, is it because of money? Is it because of whatever? And it's like, sometimes the reasons that things have speed bumps have to do with you're human. And that just creates its own speed bumps just by you being human. So I've had a very human feeling month of June so far. And to get to this point is just like, oh, good, I can do it. that bit of reassurance when you see that you've actually done what you set out to do is really great. I'm glad you're relaxed. Thank you so much. Well, it's certainly quiet in the chat tonight. I guess I picked a Friday where everybody had plans or something, but that's okay. I wanted to get these drawings done anyway, and y'all are just kind of hanging out with me. That's why I do these live streams, and I don't really prepare much of a presentation because I'm just getting work done. But it's nice to have people in the room. I think it makes it a little bit. It definitely makes it more social. I should be done with this drawing pretty soon. I don't know if I'll get a fourth one done tonight, but I at least wanted to get 3, and this is the third one. While this is more relaxing, it's still pretty detail based because I have to make sure that the drawing looks like itself and doesn't really drift too far away from the model. So there is a little bit of concentration that I have to do, but this is definitely a more relaxed part of what I'm working on. I'm excited to be getting to a new scene. That's going to be great. I'm genuinely looking forward to that. And the design for the upcoming scene is one that I changed from the storyboards. So I have to figure out exactly what that's going to look like because I don't 100% know yet. I have a pretty good idea in my head. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be nice to move on to a new part. Keeping hydrated. I was definitely out in the sun doing some work today for someone. And I try not to do that for too long because it was it was in the 90s today, but I guess with the humidity, they said it felt like 103. And didn't feel like 103 to me, but I kind of feel like a lot of times once it goes past a certain temperature point, it's like you could tell me that it was 120 and I would be like, okay, well that feels just like 99. There's not a whole lot of difference in my mind once you go past a certain point. It's just hot at that point. All right, just got his hands to do, and then this drawing is all done. I'm really looking forward to seeing how these work out. I'm really, really looking forward to it. That's part of why I think I get so addicted to this process. It's I don't know. It's like uncovering a piece of buried treasure, and then if it works, if you find the treasure, it's like it's just so rewarding. You know, to some degree, I already kind of know whether or not it's going to work, but still, seeing it is just amazing. I was kind of hoping somebody would pop in tonight and be like, "Hey, are you listening to Doom?" Wishful thinking on that, I guess. definitely, I have some friends from childhood who, if they were listening right now, they would absolutely have known what it was without me saying a word. Absolutely. Oh, hey. Happy Friday, Bayou Bomber. Thanks for being here. I'm just in betweening scene 19 tonight. A scene that I am finishing up, actually. My goal is to be done with this in between stuff on this scene before July. So maybe tomorrow I'll work on it. If I don't finish tonight. Actually, I know I'll work on it tomorrow. I'm very, very eager to get to this next scene. Very, very eager. But at the same time, I want this one to turn out, really well. And that's sometimes a temptation. I'll be like, oh, I can go to the next scene now, and I can always do these in betweens later. And it's like, yeah, but I'm already in the headspace of this scene right now, so let's exhibit a little bit of patience. This is a level called Barrels of Fun. I'll never forget when I first heard this song and when I played this level. It was like there were exploding barrels everywhere. It was so much fun. Barrels of Fun. All right, here we go. Another in between in the books. How many scenes do you have again? The number might change, but as of right now, it's lower my music. Hold on. As of right now, there are 70 scenes. 70 scenes. That could go up, it could go down, but not by very much. I might be off by like one or two. Okay, so that's pretty good. I don't know if I want to do any more on that. Well, there is technically room for me to do another one. Let's see, what time is it? We got 10 minutes left. I could start one. Do I want to do that? Kind of want to. I kind of want to. I think I might. Let's see. Let's see. Let's put this one over here. That's the original. And then these are two of the new ones I did tonight. So I might be doing in-betweens of in-betweens from tonight. Oh, yeah, I could probably do that. Yeah, yep. There's room for another one. Yep. I'm telling you though, it's gonna pay off. If another couple drawings, if that's all it's gonna take to make a better result, then I'm gonna do it. Bayou Bomber says, finish it. I read that as a Mortal Kombat. I don't know how many more I'm gonna do, so I don't know if I'm finishing it tonight, but I'm definitely gonna. I've already dedicated that, or promised myself I would get this scene done before Monday. So that's the plan. Again, I only have right now I'm just adding in betweens. There's no actual if I were to show you the scene playing out, it plays out right now. I'm just trying to make it more robust. This particular part it's tedious, but I really do think it's going to work out really well when it's all said and done. Yeah, it's going to look like I mean, it is video, but it's going to look like the character is like really, like the movement is a real movement. I don't know how to explain it. It's going to look like there's an actual camera movement happening. That's the illusion. And I'm so excited about creating that illusion. Like that to me is very exciting. We've had some very gusty winds today. It sounded like I heard some outside just now. That sounds cool. Thanks. Yeah. So since you weren't here earlier, I'll explain again. Like this is one of the drawings. But basically, the effect is I'm making it look like there's a camera that's zooming out, so that after this character says his line, he then like goes further back into space. But in order for me to do that, I have to draw every one of those images of him going back into space. I'm not doing I'm not zooming out with a virtual camera. I'm actually just making it look like it's zooming out. But I think the effect is going to be very cool. And that's what I'm going for. Yeah, are there easier ways to do things, and are there like tricks that I could do? Yeah, there's tricks I could do. I could just use the camera function and make the single image that I did. I could just zoom that out. I don't think it looks as cool. And it's like, what's the point? Just to have it done sooner? Okay, I guess. But isn't it better when it's done if it looks better? That's how I always feel about things. It gets kind of obnoxious that all we want to do is just like get to the end of something. Why would you want to just get to the end of something when you can like make sure that the final result is just kick ass? Or whatever the kick ass equivalency is for what I'm doing right now. You know? Sometimes the more analog way of doing something makes it feel better. 100% agree. That's exactly it. I do think it looks and feels better. I think like the effect I'm going for, when this is done, it's gonna feel like something handmade. I'm trying to be a perfectionist about it. I don't have to try. I'm always a perfectionist, but I'm trying to be that way about it. But at the same time, you have to allow for a little bit of imperfection so that it still looks handmade. And I think there's something really nice and charming about that. So I'm hoping that that's the result when I'm all done. Over the years, people have asked me if my comic strips were something that I created digitally, because I spend so much time being a perfectionist about the inking that it ends up not looking handmade anymore. But it is. I just spend like a ton of time making it look really, really clean and neat. There's no secret to that. People are always like, how did you do that? I'm like, the answer is I just sat there and did it for a long time. That's the answer. I don't have a secret. The secret is I didn't let myself use a lot of shortcutting. That's the secret. Bayou Bomber says, Aaron Blaze says that 2D hand-drawn feels more genuine because if you look close enough, you can see the rough imperfections in the work itself. That's exactly right. And Aaron Blaze is on the money. And by the way, if you haven't seen or heard it already, I interviewed Aaron Blaze, and it's on my YouTube channel. It's one of my Stay Tuned episodes. So if you look through, I think it's like season 3 or something like that. It's one of my favorite interviews because he was and is such a wealth of knowledge and one of the kindest guys, and he's super generous with his knowledge, and he's just very passionate about what he does, and that's why I respect him so much. Those are the people that I look up to, the people that are just so passionate and dedicated to what they do that they just do it no matter what. no matter what's going on in their life, whether it's earning them a living or not, they're just going to keep doing it. And I've always lived that way, possibly to my detriment of my bank account, but oh well. Speaking of bank accounts, if you feel like supporting me financially, like that little segue, um, I've got a Patreon, and I would love it if you would consider joining. You can join for free, by the way. If you don't have any money to throw at me, that is totally fine. I still appreciate you watching whenever you're watching this, even if you're not watching it live. Um, and you can follow me for free on Patreon. I do post updates free to the public, as well as separate updates for patrons. So I would love to have you there. It would be really, really great. And it's at retailsunshine.com. Really easy to remember. Bayou Bomber says, I've bought so many of his courses, I think he'd be a cool guy to apprentice under. Oh, absolutely. And his courses are very affordable. So if you're somebody right now who you're watching this and you're like, I don't know who Aaron Blaise is. Aaron Blaise is a former Disney animator. He also was the director of Brother Bear. And now he's doing his own online art classes with animation. I believe it's at Creature Art Teacher. I recommend his classes very highly. He's great to listen to. He's got a lot of good stuff to say. He's got a lot of experience in the industry, which is fantastic. And just as a reminder, last week I interviewed Steve Anderson, who was the director of the 2011 Winnie the Pooh movie, which is the last, at least for now, it was the last traditionally animated film from Disney. That interview came out last Friday, and it's also on my channel for free. I really do recommend listening to that. That was a great show. Steve's a great guy. His book is amazing, and he had a lot of great stuff to share on the live stream. So check that show out. Put it on in the background. Listen to it when you're doing laundry. It's good stuff. I hadn't done a Stay Tuned interview since I think summer of 2022. So it had been a minute. It had been about 2 years. So that was a little bit me wondering if I could still do it and make it look as natural as it used to. I think it went pretty well. Bayou Bomber says he always has sales for his courses. I always get in on the $5 and $10 sales. Some of his stuff runs normally 20, 30, 40 plus. Yeah, that's very true. That's a good point. I'm on his newsletter. His newsletter, he'll tell you when he's got sales too. If you're just now coming in, welcome. I appreciate you being here. My name is Phil. I'm working on an animated cartoon. No, I'm not being paid for it. It is a passion project of mine. I do not know when it's going to be finished. I can tell you that it will probably be somewhere in the 6 to 7 minute range when it's done. I'm currently doing pencil test animation, and hey, Consuelo's here. Howdy. Of the pencil test animation I've done so far, I've got about a minute and a half done. A minute and a half took me, we'll just call it 6 months. So I don't know if that's the ratio that's going to continue. I'd like to think I could get a little bit faster as I go. We'll see what happens. It's been kind of hard to predict because I keep giving myself different challenges and things I've never done before. So every time I do a new scene, I find myself grappling with how am I going to do this? And then it doesn't go as quickly as I'd like it to. But that's okay. I'm not on a time crunch or anything like that. The reason why I bring up Patreon is, if I can someday make it where I'm being solely supported by patrons, then I wouldn't have to go to a day job anymore, which would give me way more time to animate. And I have to imagine that would increase my rate of production. So if you'd like to see me make this cartoon faster, that's how you do it. Go to the banner below and throw $1 at me a month. And if enough people throw $1 at me a month, eventually it will be more than $1. No, I'm kidding. It's more than $1 now. And thank you to my patrons, people like Ryan Shaver, who's been supporting me for years now. And I really do appreciate it. This was that like Commander Keen level. That level was like a bonus level, and it was like a secret level, and they had characters from the old Wolfenstein 3D game, and then they had like Commander Keen hanging like from a noose in the background or whatever. You could shoot him down. It just meant to be like an Easter egg. But I remember back in the day that was it was like, whoa, a bonus secret level, whoa. I'm talking about like the early 90s here, folks. When I say back in the day, I realize everybody's got a different definition of back in the day. My back in the day is the early 90s. But this drawing is about done. I'm gonna wrap this drawing up here. I got 4 done tonight, which is great. I was out working today, so being able to come home and get this nailed out was really nice. All right, there we go. I'm gonna turn my light off. Okay, there we go. So another in between. You can tell it looks very similar to the other drawing, but I promise you they're different. And basically, it's just zooming out further and further. It's going to be interesting to see how all these come together. I'm really looking forward to it. And what I have to do now is I need to label all these so I know which one is which. What I'm going to do right now before I end the live stream for the night is I'm not going to label them, but I am going to put them in the order that they are supposed to appear on screen, so I at least have a little bit of wherewithal when I'm done here. Well, I can already see there's room for another in between. Look at that. Oh boy. Will I end up doing that? I probably will. All right, so then there's that one. No, it's this one is next. Okay. So it should go that one, then that one, then that one. Let's see if I got these right. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, I got those right. And there's room for another in between. There's room for another one. So I will do one more, but I won't do it right now. But I am planning on doing one more. So I know I've got at least one more in between in this scene. Once I play it back, then I'll know for sure if I have more. But I'm going to call it there because my hand is cramping a little bit. I got to give my hand a break. So let's see. Well, let's see what I got here. So that's oh, that one comes first. Okay. And then that one. Okay, great. Yeah, when they start looking all very similar like this, it gets a little on the confusing side. But anyway, I thank you guys for being here tonight. Next week's Independence Day weekend, right? Let's see. Let me take a look. We got what is it? Well, it'll be the 5th of July. So I could probably do a live stream Friday. I'm probably going to be on Scene 20 next week. So that's pretty exciting. for me anyway, because it means the number changes from a 1 in front to a 2 in front. I'm excited because it's going to be a fun scene. And I think it's a little bit of a shorter scene than the one I'm just working on now is 7 seconds. I want to say I've got about 70 drawings in this scene already. And what the frame rate I'm animating at is 12 frames a second. Now, if you take 70, right, and you break it down into 7 seconds, that's 10 frames a second. But I'm not doing it 10 frames a second. The reason why is because not all images stay on screen for the same amount of time. So sometimes an image will stay on screen like 4 times the length of another one. So that means it's not going to be like, if I'm doing 12 frames a second, you go, well, Phil, why don't you have, if you're doing 70 seconds, or if you're doing, you get what I'm saying. Why isn't it 7 times 12? And the reason why it's not 7 times 12 is because the frames are on screen for different amounts of time. But 70 drawings for one scene that's only on screen for 7 seconds, it's not bad. Traditional animation with Disney, I believe, ran at 24 frames per second. But again, it's the same thing. They're not always, it's not literally a frame every second consistently for the whole film, because sometimes you hold on an image for a while and there's different things like that. It's just kind of a general baseline that you put the frames on the screen for that much time. So for this cartoon, it's TV animation that I'm doing it in the style of, and TV animation is 12 frames a second. I like TV animation. I think it looks great. I don't need there to be double the amount of drawings. And visually, I don't think it adds enough pizzazz for me to even want to do it. So when I first conceived of this project, I did think I was going to do 24 frames per second. But I was a crazy person then, and I'm only slightly less crazy now. So thanks so much for being here. It's been great having you join me tonight. I will see you next week. Same time, same place, same guy, same face. Haha! Thanks for liking and subscribing, and have a great weekend, everybody.